Yeah, that's your name.
Squirrels got me.
Big Jim.
Yeah.
Really, 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 really cold and fun.
Cold and fun.
Cold and fun.
That's good that you think that of it, because that's what deer hunting typically is cold and fun.
Yesterday morning, I'm glassing up on the pass, and I see these deer moving, and I'm like, ooh, there's some deer moving. All of a sudden, I just see this person just head down, just hauling ass, wearing shorts and a t-shirt with a pack on. And I'm like, is that Tard? My dad always talks about floating through the woods like the autumn breeze.
So Robert's
when you're
the
275 pounds, I don't know how you do that, but
the Freightliner. It's just like a creeper. You're just kind of up in the corner watching what's going on down there.
Yeah.
You know.
He's like,
he's up there slapping, pissing all over everything.
Is it warm yet?
How did you know the name of the actor?
I know.
How did you say his name?
Hervé Villechaize.
You know what pert near means.
If you know what pert near means and you live in America, you're a redneck too.
Welcome to the Log Talk Podcast, brought to you by Pert Near Outdoors. It's that time of year. It's that time of year where we all need to be thinking about, do we have everything we need to hit the woods? Chances are you don't, and if you think you do, you probably could use some more. So how about you go over to thehuntworks.com and check out all the incredible products these guys are carrying. This is a great family, local store. Dan and Steve Dunnigan, a couple hardworking sumbitches. They are now carrying archery equipment, everything from bows to arrows to broadheads, quivers, you name it. So on top of all the great tree stands and box blinds that they're carrying, they're now a full-on archery dealer, and really recommend that you check these guys out for your next big purchase. Head over to thehuntworks.com to see what they've got for sale, or if you're local in the Rochester area, head on over to their store in East Rochester on Dispatch Drive and check them out. They are on social media, The Huntworks, and also online, like I said. And if you purchase anything online, you can use promo code FEEDIN'Em to get 5% off, and that's FEED, FEEDIN, INUM, 5% off. Feed 'em. All right, I'm going to give you a quick update to that little promo there for the Huntworks. So Daniel is trying to, Mr. Dan Dunnigan himself is trying to boost some sales here as he heads into the holidays and jump into the spirit of Cyber Monday and Black Friday and the whole month of December, where everything is like way cheaper than it was the rest of the year. So what Daniel's doing to encourage you guys to frequent the store there, online or in person over in East Rochester, is he is offering 10% off any gift card if you mention PertNear or if you use code PertNear on the website. So if it's a great gift idea for yourself that you can give your spouse or your parents or somebody that might be buying you a gift, maybe you'd like a gift card to Huntworks, so he'll give an additional 10% added. Excuse me, I'm reading this here. So you get 10% more. So let's say you get a $100 gift card. If you mention PertNear, you'll get $110. So that's $10 free. What a deal. So you can do that. And then also they've got on all bows, he's saying $100 off all bows from $500 to $999 price point. So you get $100 off one of those bows. So for example, if I'm understanding this correctly, if it's a $600 bow, you could get it for $100. And then when you get up to the 2022 models, he's saying $250 off all 2022 model bows. So some good deals to be had over at the Huntworks. Check them out. Appreciate you supporting them as they've continued to support us, and they're very good people, and we want to see their business be successful. So check them out. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to get your PertNear swag before it's gone. I'm looking at the boxes. They're getting thin. Still got some hats available, but the hoodies are almost gone, and the T-shirts are following right behind. So jump on the website, hit me up, let me know if you want something. We'll tighten you up. Thank you. Enjoy the podcast.
Oh,
is this Brother Dallas? Speaking. Brother Dallas, I want to. I'm just trying to record a quick podcast here because trying to pack 10 pounds of shit into a 5-pound bag before we get ready to go to Pennsylvania. And you whacked a good one on what was that, Sunday morning? Yeah.
Yeah, Sunday morning.
Yeah. So let's hear it. Give it to us.
All right, well,
Just like that.
yeah. It was that was a buck that kind of turned into being my target buck this year. Went from expectations of a couple of bucks that survived last season on that property, and then of course a couple of bucks that we had on camera at the farm this year, and sort of all of those other expectations sort of dissolved along the, as the season went on, or as the fall went on, and kind of this buck here was I don't recognize him from last year. I think he's just a big 3-year-old that showed up late summer and became more and more. Just kept getting more and more trail cam videos of him to the point where, it became pretty clear that he wasn't going to survive this season. Either I was going to shoot him or somebody else was. I had daylight photos of him by my stands, and I had, last week I had him close to daylight in the evening there too. So kind of figured there was a pretty good chance that I was going to cross paths with this guy. So it ended up being Sunday morning. I went out. Obviously, if you hunt Bennington or like the northern part of Sheldon, this kind of small area here where we hunt, we got a pretty late start to the season because of all the snow, which I think honestly was good because a lot of big bucks and just a lot of deer hit the ground that opening weekend, and especially Saturday morning. And so, and a lot of them get killed by just from hunting pressure, guys going into their stands and stuff like that. So I actually thought that other than the annoyance of having to wait and then having to plow through snow and everything, I actually thought it'd be a good thing because I figured it would save a lot of bucks, that would survive that opening weekend just for the fact that nobody was out there. So
Yeah.
So Sunday morning I'm driving up to hunt, and we're finally past the point where we're at the point now where the snow has gotten, it's still like 8 inches of wet packed snow there, but it's getting to the point where it's pretty easy to walk through now, and it's quiet going into your stand. We had like a 8-mile-an-hour south wind, so like perfect conditions for me to hunt this stand, which is a spot where I've caught a lot of deer and a lot of bucks cruising back to bed in the morning, so it's a perfect morning transition stand. And I had a pretty good feeling about the day to begin with, and then on the way up there, I saw I think 3 different bucks crossing the road on the way up, which I took as a good sign of deer being moving late in the, towards daybreak. So then, of course, I got in the stand, and it was, all the way up until 8:05 before I saw my first deer. But this guy snuck in on me in the snow and just kind of appeared right in front of me, 20 yards broadside. I mean, he could have done that a week or 3 weeks ago. I could have shot him with a bow and got it done that way. But obviously, it became a pretty easy broadside rifle shot. And so that was kind of an anticlimactic ending, really. There, so it was pretty easy to finish the deal. But as always, it's been a pretty wild, interesting deer season. It never goes the way I expect it to. Even when things go right, it's never the way you think it's going to go down. But that's one of my best bucks, and he actually ended up being bigger than I thought he was. After we got him on the ground, I realized that he had a lot more mass on his beams and longer beams than I thought. So he ended up being a really nice 9-pointer. Scored about 140. So
Yeah.
pretty happy with him.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked when I walked in and saw him laying on the ground, especially, laying next to another buck. John's buck was nothing to shake a stick at. I mean, his buck was 18 inches wide inside and a beautiful representation of a Western New York whitetail. And then yours is sitting right next to it, and it's like, whoa, like just the G2s and the mass and some of the character he's got on the, would that be his left side with the G2 and the G3 and G4 right next to each other, and kind of that little hook on the end of the beam. It was just a really cool looking buck. And was kind of blown away. We all were taken aback by the size of his body. He just didn't have that big barrel chest, long body on him. But neither did that buck that you shot last year. That was, pretty similar score wise and appeared to be in the same age class, right? I mean, the body wasn't huge on that deer either.
No, it wasn't huge, but he was definitely bigger than this one.
Yeah.
But I've been saying for a couple of years, that's just what the deer look like on that property. They put all their growth into their antlers, which is fine with me. I'll shoot an extra doe if I need some more meat,
Right.
But it seems to be a lot of, I'm just amazed by, Boots was that way last year too. And this guy has clearly got some of the same genetics as the buck I called Boots last year, because they both looked like a deer that you would see like on a Texas ranch on the Outdoor Channel, where they just have these enormous racks on these tiny bodies, but they both have the white feet, and up their legs a little bit with the white. So I think that's a genetic trait, because I'm noticing it with the does over there too. So
isn't it wild?
Pretty,
that piece of property's probably 3 miles as a crow flies from
I don't even think it's that far. I think it might be 2.
Yeah, and it's just the genetics are different. The quality of the deer is different. It's interesting. It's not that far away, and it's just 2 different worlds. And it's got to have something to do with hunting pressure, I would think. Just knowing what you've told me about that area, I've never been over there with you, but I don't think it gets the pressure in that area that our block does. Would you agree with that, or?
The south end of our block gets beat up pretty good, but I don't really think where we hunt is all that pressured either. I wouldn't say it's a whole lot different. The main difference is there's a property that borders me that's unhunted, and that's where I'm killing the deer going in and out of there. So that's just it's a bit of a sanctuary.
Yeah.
So, that in itself makes a big difference. But everything that's east of me, and in every other direction, it's getting hunted just as hard as our block is. So, and the thing is too, like I'm still not finding 4-year-old deer over there for the most part. I'm just killing big 3-year-olds, which is, it's not exactly what I want to do. I'm trying to move my age class up to 4+, but I'm just, every year I'm finding these big 3-year-olds there, and then I didn't pass on those deer last year, but after I killed my big one with the bow, I kind of laid off on trying. I definitely wasn't trying to kill a buck there. I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to say that I passed on 130-inch deer last year, but I sort of intentionally stayed away from there, and I verified that those bucks lived through the season, and then they disappeared, and now I'm talking to a lot of people around the same area, and I don't know, I haven't started sharing any of those videos yet, but I don't know that anybody knows about those deer. They got to be still alive, but they must have just totally relocated. And I've had that several times now over the past 4 years, where I've had some 3-year-olds that just never showed back up at 4, and it's weird because they're just totally living there at 3. So I don't know. Obviously we've talked on a previous podcast how the food shifted this year, and I felt like that changed some things, and I still think that's a part of it. But I don't know if there's some kind of hierarchy going on there as far as the who gets the better bedding and the better, more favorable living situation up there, where the best bucks are moving to different places with age class or something like that. I don't. It's all a total guess because I have no way of knowing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It's like the saga continues, it's just trying to, like, it's funny because I'm at the point right now where I'm kind of, I'm not wishing the season away, but I'm like getting all that snow with that lake effect storm week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. Like, it got my bones aching to get the chainsaw in my hand and start doing habitat work and start looking at deer trails and figuring out where they're going. That's just become such a new passion of mine that it's really fun to do that. And like, you learn so much during that time. And I'm also, thinking about what the next 3 weeks of rifle season and getting into muzzleloader here, we still have one of our target bucks on the farm, Norwood. We still have him. Our cameras, we've had some cameras that have died. battery wise, and things haven't been operating the way that they were, and I just don't think the deer movement's where it was. But we know he's still alive, and I'm just interested to see how the next 3 to 4 weeks plays out, to try to get an opportunity at him. Or we know I was going back through this morning when we were messaging as a group about the big what do we call him? What the hell's his name? Ralph. We haven't seen Ralph since August, but then you were messaging with someone local who is after that deer, and he has pictures of him after the last time we saw him. So, that deer relocated to somewhere, one of the 2 properties that we know that individual hunts. But we had that big 8-pointer with the big left side, that had the big long tines on the left side, and his right side was a little bit weaker. We had him quite a bit in late September, early October. Haven't seen him. That wide 8-pointer, haven't seen him. And these deer, I gotta imagine are going to start showing back up, being the fact that we've got some improved habitat. We've got some food. Granted, not probably the amount of food we wanted to have. I just feel like they're going to show up. And where I'm going with this long point is I feel like a lot of the intel and the deer trails and the sign that we saw last winter doing work, I'm like, my mind's turning on whoever can, target some of those travel corridors where we know the deer hang once the weather gets a little bit colder, if we get that cold weather into December and late December. So it'll be interesting to see how the next few weeks plays out.
Yeah. Last year we never got any cold weather or snow during the season at all. We had only a couple of cold days. So we never really got to take advantage of last year we had a lot of corn and soybeans. This year we have some soybeans and brassicas, but, we didn't really get to test out our late season food last year because it actually got warm at the end of the year,
Yeah.
So, and now that it's warming up again, but it's early, it's not even December yet. So we'll see how things play out. I can tell you, we walked around Saturday there, me and Brian, and we met up, and we had been out the south end of the property, and he goes, "That place needs to be clear cutted." And I'm like, "I'm glad you're on board because me and Billy have been talking about that already."
Right. Welcome to the club, Trigger.
He walked through there in the absolute worst condition possible with all the snow that we've had, and he could see it. Plain as day, he could see where the deer sign was and wasn't, and he goes, "We need to clear cut that." I'm like, "Thank God."
So that you talk like the center section there between the island and the back food plot, yeah. Yeah, and did you guys go through the bushes or around the bushes at all?
No, we thought about it, but we ended up staying out of there.
Yeah, but I just, when we had all that snow with that lake effect storm, we don't have a camera running in there right now, but my mind I keep thinking about that shed I found in February, where all those beds were hunkered up underneath, all that stuff that I've been dropping. There's so much browse in there right now. It's like, if we get some of those conditions, even now, I think I wouldn't be surprised if there's a buck living in there right now. I just think that we have not hunted. You sat in that new buck hut once or twice. Like, we have not hunted that at all. If we can get the right weather and the right wind, I really think that there's an opportunity in this late gun season to try to capitalize. Hopefully, one of them is living in there.
Yeah. I think they will be. The snow's already had its effect too now, because it already knocked down all the grass everywhere and a lot of even the crops, So, it just, everything is flattened out. So, even if we don't get any more significant snowfall in December, we still need cold temperatures to push them out of their bedding sooner, but it's already their bedding has already been relocated. They're in their winter bedding spots right now. They have no choice.
Yeah, so, right. That's a good point.
I think we can already be going off of that intel, and everybody should be.
Yeah, that's a great point for everyone. If you're in these areas that got hit with that heavy snow load, you're 100% right. Every field that's goldenrod or any sort of light vegetation, it's all knocked down, and it ain't coming back up. You look at that lower field where we had all that Japanese millet, that stuff was impossible to see through, but it's flat now. So anything that's left down there, any of the soybeans that survived or anything or that didn't already get eaten up, that food's down there, and that's something that now could be hunted, because before it was almost pointless because you couldn't even see through the damn stuff. So
That millet actually survived better than the screening that I planted around that one blind. That stuff's pretty much all down now. The millet's actually battling pretty good.
nice. Oh, you talking the screening up around the front food plot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That stuff, it seemed like it took the initial snow, but we went by there the other day and it's pretty much flat now.
Yep. Are you so you pretty well squared away? Feel like you got things lined up for Thursday for heading out for PA? You good? We got our. Do you have that first hunt drawn up yet, or the first day drawn up?
Yeah.
Okay.
First hunt, anyways. Yep.
All right. So you can send that over. I guess send that over to the group chat whenever, so we can get that picture in front of everyone, so everybody can save that, and then make sure everybody gets those maps downloaded too.
Okay.
Not to dictate.
I don't
what
think
you need to
anybody's
do.
There's only going to be a handful of people that are actually going to look at the hunt map, but a few will.
I know, but I think it's valuable. This is the largest group we've had to start the hunt, and I think it's I think one of the things we need to talk about when we all meet up at the trucks is just the safety factor, because we do. We do have some new people, and just making sure that everybody understands the importance of being where you're supposed to be and knowing where everyone's coming from. Like, that's why I really think, especially that first hunt, to get everyone broken in, like just understanding how this is all going to work and where things are moving. Because, we have some wanderers, and we need to look those individuals in the eye and make sure that they understand to, stay where they're supposed to be and not get too wandery.
Well, we only have, my dad's not going, so he's not wandering anywhere.
Right.
But he's not too bad because he's trying to do the right thing. He just sometimes he gets a little confused. But the other guy I already had a talk with, and I told him I'm putting him on my hip pocket, and he's going where I am.
Oh, so, you did? That's great.
I told him I'm going to hold his hand through the whole thing, and if he doesn't like it, then he's going to have to figure out something else.
What was his response to that?
Well, I didn't give him the last part of it, but I just gave him the first part where I told him I'd take care of him, and he was happy with that. So
perfect. And I think part of it is that he just wants to know where he's supposed to go, and then if you give him the inch, they'll take a mile. I think that's part of what goes on there sometimes too. So
it is, yeah.
I think we're pretty well organized, pretty well planned, and I'm excited to get down there. We got some of like I mentioned, we got some of these new guys, and I talked to Rob yesterday, and it sounds like there's been quite a bit of hunting pressure, but he's seen quite a few deer and saw a nice buck on opening day, and ran into a bunch of locals. So it sounds like there's been a lot of hunting pressure, which is not a bad thing. I think hopefully we'll be hitting it at the right time next week or end of this week here with everybody maybe gotten a lot of their hunting out of the way, and we'll come in there Thursday and clean up all the scraps, everything that they missed.
So I hope they have their hunting out of the way, but even if not, did he tell you where all those trucks have been parking at the one roadway?
Yes.
The roadway to Vogel Valley?
Yes.
So that sounds an awful lot like 2020 to me, where that area was getting hunted hard, and you know why it was at that time.
Right.
Is because a bunch of guys knew that there was a monster in there.
Right. Which was the buck to trigger shot.
Exactly. Yep. So I have a feeling that there's a bunch of guys after another target buck, and that indicates to me that he's still alive, or they think he is if they're all parking there every day.
Yeah.
So I think we might be able to play off of that pressure and get ourselves another big one.
But part of me wonders how far, like I said to Rob yesterday, I wonder how far they are going in there. I mean, to the point where I shot my buck last year in Vogel Valley, like that, it was 2 miles, a 2-mile walk to get there just to get started. And we're coming at it from another angle to push that up towards Vogel Valley. So it's like, I really think that we can, I don't have a lot of confidence that there's people getting into all those nooks and crannies. They might be getting to, 1 mile in. I guess I don't always give a lot of people credit for maybe the work that they are putting in, but I don't think there's people doing, I don't feel like there's people doing to the volume of what we're doing.
No, and we can't let it affect our plans really anyways. So I'm just going at it. I try to be optimistic about it. he gets a little pessimistic with the pressure thing. He gets too concerned about it because, and I mean, I get it. You see a bunch of trucks parked by the road, but then you walk a quarter mile away from the road and you realize that these people just could be anywhere. You know, they could go a million different directions. They could be crossing the road from there. You know,
Right.
It's just a parking lot. They might even be across the road. We don't really know. So
Yeah, I mean, look at what
I'm taking it as a sign that there's a good reason why those people are hunting there. You know.
Yeah, and if they
That's the way I want to look at
if
it.
they're continuing to hunt there, that means that deer, they haven't gotten them yet. That's probably what that means.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you know what they did in 2020? Ralph confirmed for us that they pushed them up over the road onto the other side. So they pressured them out of that draw and into the next one over, and we happened to go in there and get them.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I don't find. I wonder if people take their cameras down once gun season starts, because I don't think I've ever. Maybe I've walked by a camera or two, but I don't think I've ever seen cameras down there.
I've seen them. I mean, I've definitely seen them, but no, you definitely don't run into many of them. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I was thinking of that before when we were talking to Ralph. It's like, man, sounds like a lot of people knew about that deer and were running cameras, but it's like, yeah, I think the same thing. Like, remember my sarcastic idea was to print out pictures of us with that buck and post them all over that road so that everybody knew that the deer was dead and they could go find it. Go away.
Right. Yeah. Put it up next to all the Pennsylvania, deer program, all those
Surveys,
signs. Just post that picture up there with you and Trigger with a Busch Light can, just to put it, just to tell everybody to go away. He's in our backpacks. Go home.
Go home now. It's all over.
I gotta reach out to Ralph, just to let him know we're heading down this weekend. We failed to connect with him last year, and I think he had purchased a camp over in that area. So I'll have to reach out to him just to see if he's gonna be down there. Maybe we could hook up and meet the fella. It'd be nice to catch up with him.
Yeah, definitely would.
But I don't know. I just wanted to get a quick rundown of your buck. Happy for you, proud of you. You put a ton of time and effort into it, and you are very selective about what you're trying to target, and it's really over the last few years that piece of property has been very good to you, and but you could easily just go out there and whack the first buck you see, but you know what you're after and you know what you're targeting, and you make it happen. And that's something that there's been a whole the last 24 or 36 hours, I'm seeing all these different I actually was texting with Ben Williams this morning about his topic that he's going to have on his show tomorrow night, his Whitetails and Whiskey, that the live show that they do every Wednesday. I guess I'm getting fired up with all these different controversial topics, because I just feel like they're, in the end, like, I don't disagree with anybody's perspectives, but at the end of the day, it's like, it's just a waste of so many people's energy about this stuff. Because in the end, it's like your message on there, Ben's question was, what changes would you like to see New York State make? And your response was, well, you'd like to see it turn into a $1 state, which I don't disagree with that. Like, it's not something I'm going to like stand up and say, no, you need to shoot $2, but it's like, you shot $1, and now you're going to be way more selective, because you can shoot a second one, but you're going to be way more selective about what you shoot, because that's just your approach. And it's the same way with me. I shot my buck with a bow. Granted, deer was 70 something inches, but it's a deer I wanted to kill. It's a deer we wanted to shoot on the farm. And now I'm like, this is the first time ever that I can remember that I'm with a gun in my hands and I'm just passing bucks. Like, I've passed 3 bucks that I normally would shoot over the last 3 hunts. I've passed deer. And it's like, because I don't need to shoot another buck. I've got 3 does in the freezer. I've got my buck I shot with my bow. I've got meat. I don't need meat right now. So, like, I think that a lot of these discussions, I think they just are creating more turmoil and division amongst hunters over stuff that really doesn't matter. Like, hunt your hunt, manage your property that you hunt, make your decisions on how you want to handle it with that. Like, I just think we're losing track of the point of what we're doing here with all these different arguments back and forth.
So I got to go, but I just wanted to say one more thing on that topic. And I'm sure, obviously, we're going to talk about this Wednesday night with Ben. But, I thought my point was fairly well made about the fact that I think that doing the $1 thing would fix a lot of these other problems wouldn't have to worry so much about crossbows and rifles and long seasons and all this stuff. Like, I thought I was on the right track, but I got to actually hand it to you here because I read your comment, and I mean, you actually literally hit the nail on the head. Is that all this stuff? He's just trying to create conversation, and I know Russ has done it a lot on his page too. And it's good. We're just trying to have conversation among hunters, but even in these small groups, you're seeing all these different opinions and divisiveness. And in reality, what these conversations do is just, in some cases, drive us further apart. And in reality, the people that don't like hunting and guns and want to protect animals and everything else, this is what they want to see us doing, and we're doing it to ourselves.
Yeah.
So
yeah, why do you think that we put a post up of a picture of taking our kids out hunting, and it gets it gets maybe 100 reactions, and then you post something that's a controversial discussion, and it gets almost 100 comments in less than 8 hours? Like, ask yourself that question. What are the algorithms doing? The algorithms are trying to get things in front of you that will get you riled up and having these conversations. So once you start to understand how the system works and what's going on, all these people that are running, it's just, I think people get it, but I don't know if they see it and understand it. Like, these conversations on Facebook and Instagram achieve nothing. They get nothing done. They make no improvements in the field, or the DEC is not listening. They don't care. They have a plan that they have to execute, and if you want to see changes made in your neighborhood, you have to take them. You have to get involved. You got to make your own changes. You got to talk to your neighbors. You got to make differences. Like, you're not going to change the big perspective. So, I don't know.
And these guys aren't trying to inspire change as much as just drum up conversation, which I don't fault them for doing it.
No.
It's just looking for seeing. I mean, like I said, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, everybody should read what you wrote and really think about it, because in the end, we're not going to make any differences at a state level. It's all just wishful thinking or just topics for conversation. But in reality, you can just see it in that short period of time what's actually happening when we have these conversations.
Yeah, and I am by no means taking a shot at Ben or anybody that's having these, throwing the stuff out there.
It was a good conversation. It's just you see how many different opinions come up in that short amount of time. And it was a good conversation. It is a good conversation, but it's just obvious that, like, there's all these different ideas and opinions that none of them mean shit, really.
No. Can you feed your damn family, and are you happy with what you did? That's what matters, and you got to guard the gate, as they say. I'm a firm believer in that. We all got to stick together, and if there's shitheads out there doing stupid things and being unethical and doing things that make us look bad, those are the things that we need to police, and we need to, pull those individuals aside and say, hey, this not tasteful, not a good way to do it. This is not the way that it should be done, instead of, all this different stuff. So I'll let you run, get the kiddos on the bus, and can't wait to rendezvous down at Dunkin' Donuts in Wellsville on Thursday morning, 5:15.
Hell yeah.
All right, brother Dallas. We'll talk soon, I'm sure. Congrats on the buck.
Yeah, thanks again, buddy.
Yep, see ya. All right, Dallas has left the proverbial building. I'm just going to close out on kind of wrapping out that thought there. I would encourage anyone that's interested in that discussion around what we were just talking about, the topic that Ben's going to cover on his podcast tomorrow night, Wednesday. Tune into his show on Facebook or Bullhorn or YouTube on the Old Tin Cup page. Check that out. It's fun. It's fun dialogue. It's fun discussion. But I think we also need to think about the bigger picture and what is at stake. And I know it seems dramatic to say that, but it's a reality. I mean, take a step back and look at the last year and a half, 2 years, and there's a lot of things that it's just day after day. There's just, you can't keep track of it all. Like, stuff just keeps changing. People keep making changes to stuff. And after I have concerns, especially in this state, after this election earlier this month, New York State stayed strongly blue. And I don't think that it's hard to imagine that some of this legislation that was on the table earlier this year in January, February, March, April, there was a lot of really wild stuff on the table about banning lead ammunition, about, hunting rights, crossbow, when you can use it, when you can't use it. There's a lot of stuff out there that has been floated. And now you've got another 4 years of all these individuals are locked back in their seats, and it's not an election year. And I'm concerned about the direction, not just in New York State, but across the country, of some of our rights as hunters and outdoorsmen and people who love to get out and do what we do. I really think we need to band together. There's so many organizations, all these nonprofits. It's like I've kind of gotten drowned. Anyone who's been following us long enough, I engage with all these different groups, and it's like everybody's got their own little niche thing. And it's like at the end of the day, like we all just need to stick together as hunters. I don't care if you're a duck hunter or a pheasant hunter or a deer hunter, turkey hunter, like we all in the end love the same thing. We might just pursue it different ways, or different animals or birds, whatever. But it's like we got to come together on this stuff. And it's something that, it just kind of frustrates me. And it's made me a little bit discouraged over the last year, I would say. I think in 2019 and 2020, there was a lot of discussion like what I'm saying right now. And then it got kind of, siloed again, and everybody kind of got in their camps and started talking about their own stuff. And I think we kind of need to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. I mean, the two-way stuff, we all got to support that. Like, you got to give an inch to take a mile. And I think that we got to stick together on some of these things. So anyway, those are my thoughts. I think you get where I'm coming from there, and I'm sure we'll have more discussion about that in the future. But as of right now, it's November 29th, and we're almost to December. We're almost to going to PA, as you heard Dallas and I talk about. We're excited about our trip. We got 20 strong heading down there, 3 houses rented, and we will be tactically attacking the mountains and trying to put some PA mountain bucks on the ground and in the backpacks and making some memories along the way. So excited about that, and excited to see what the rest of the season comes. For me, it's been, I've been logging my hunts. I think at this point right now I've got 8 or 9 sits in, and I couldn't be happier, honestly, with the way that the season's gone, not just for me personally, but for my family. I feel like because of the success I've had when I've gone out, I think, the last 3 hunts, Thanksgiving, the morning, Friday morning, and Friday night, those 3 hunts/sits, I passed deer and did not shoot. So that kind of brought my percentage down a little bit. But heading into Thanksgiving, I was batting 50%. As far as I think I had at that point, I guess I had 8 hunts in, and I had shot 4 deer. So I've been feeling very confident and feeling very efficient in my efforts. And as it turns, that's just making things a little bit easier for me on the home front. I mean, it's still a grind hunting season. You shoot the deer, and now you got, hours of processing to do, and in between, handling the kids and engaging Billy. He likes to cut deer now, so he's trying to do it, but he only pays attention for about 10 minutes, and then he's on to something else. So it just, it's still a grind. This season is, but I'm doing the grind closer to home, and I'm doing the grind in a way that it's not rubbing off too bad on my wife and the kids, and that makes me really happy. So as we head into the last month of the season, I feel good. I feel like I've got things positioned in a way that, I can go to Pennsylvania and get this hunt out of the way, hopefully shoot another buck, and then come home and wrap the season up here, and maybe try to shoot a couple does to donate to the Venison Donation Coalition, and maybe cross paths with one of our target bucks on the farm. So excited about the rest of the season. I hope you're all enjoying it and having fun as well, and keeping the important things at the front of center on your mind. And at the end of the day, get out there and have fun and hunt the way you want to hunt, and achieve the goals that you want to achieve, and don't worry about what anybody else has to say about it. So follow the rules, be a good outdoorsman and a good steward of the land. But aside from that, you just do your thing and enjoy it however you please. So I'll leave you with that. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and good luck out in the woods. I hope you shoot the big one or the small one or the one with no horns, whatever the hell you please. Appreciate you listening. Keep feeding them. Go Bills.